what are some of the most common misconceptions that you see people have around AI?
There's two misconceptions. And they're very relative to each other. It's very funny. They are direct opposites. One, AI is very cheap, and the other one is AI is very expensive. Those are two very interesting.
Is it cheap or expensive?
So if you think about it in this context, it's either or. That's the funny thing. You need data. Who can afford data non-stop? It's not everybody, right? So that means already the playing field is not even.
Yeah.
It's something that's not being talked about enough is the ethical use of AI.
Yeah.
There's a reason why. First of all, AI is so heavy in how it consumes electricity, in how it consumes water to cool the servers. That's why you're finding there's a whole city or town in the US that has no water, is undergoing like serious problems, environmental problems.
Now, how do we collaborate with AI to ensure that, AI is there, I am here,
and we are syncing,
working together? How do we get that sync?
I think it's the discernment of where the human part comes in, where AI takes over, and then where humans come and take up again. It's like marketing and sales. Most people are not able to discern the two, yet the two are very different factions. They are married, but they're different. So people will hire a marketer and think they'll do the work of sales. Meanwhile, it's possible, but salespeople are their own thing. It's a different beast, right? And people who get the best outputs are people who separate the two entities.
So welcome to another episode of Careers with Nellie, the podcast where I share with you content on career growth, job search strategies, and we have workplace conversations that are meant to shift how we do things, shift our mindset, and of course, help you as professionals to build rewarding and fulfilling careers. So today's conversation is an interesting one, and I'll say today's conversation is a masterclass because I have a guest in the studio who's going to take us through a very critical and a very timely topic. Today, guys, we are talking about AI in the workplace. And when I thought about having this conversation, I couldn't think of any better guest to host for this conversation on the disruption on AI. I mean, the disruption of AI in careers, job search, work, just how AI is impacting how we do business, how we do our work, how we do jobs in the workplace. So I'll read out the profile of my guest. And I know even as I read it out, most of you will be able to already make a guess. So I'll just read out her profile. So my guest is a chartered marketer, and she currently serves as an AI trainer with the Chartered Institute of Marketing. She is the co-founder and the CEO of Minty Lime, a business that focuses on digital marketing and brand strategy. I know most of you are already guessing. Our work spans marketing, PR, corporate communication, artificial intelligence, and of course, she empowers individuals and businesses across Africa with AI-driven strategies. She is who she thinks she is. I'll just talk about a bit of her recognitions and awards that she has achieved. She was named the top 25 women in digital 2025, and she is one of the top 50 most influential women in Kenya. So my guest is...
I don't even know what to say. What do you say
Nyandia,
after
how are
that? Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Amen.
I claim it.
So today we are having Nyandia Gachago. That's the correct pronunciation
yes,
of your
name? Nyandia Gachago. Yes.
Nyandia Gachago.
Yes.
And we are going to talk about AI. It's a masterclass.
Yeah. In a nutshell. Yes.
Yeah, in a nutshell. If you're there and the only AI you use is ChatGPT, I think at the end of this conversation,
I know we'll do better.
We'll do better.
Better.
Yeah. So thank you so much, Nyandia, for creating time.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you. I really appreciate it. I know we started this conversation back many months ago.
I think June.
June.
Yes.
Yeah.
June.
And finally
finally
at the right time.
See God.
When the time is right,
the Lord will make it happen.
happen.
Yes.
And finally it's happening. So I'm quite excited to have you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, and I think, before we started this podcast, I was just telling you that I've watched you in a number of podcasts.
Yeah.
And the first time, I think that was not the first time, but I think the moment I really got convinced that I needed to invite you is when I watched your Engage talk.
Okay.
Which I think brought the internet at a standstill at some point.
Yeah.
Because really you are having a conversation that many of us want to have.
Yeah.
But we either don't know who to have it with.
Yeah.
We either don't know whether it is the right time to share it.
Yeah.
But I love the vulnerability. I love the courage.
Thank you.
So I think just as we start off this conversation, it will be important for us just to know more about you. I don't want to assume everyone has watched you.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So just tell us, who is Nyandia?
So Nyandia is a mom. She is a partner. She's a wife. She is a sister, an auntie. I am a very all-rounded woman. I love the village. I am a dairy goat farmer, which is honestly...
So you don't look like a villager?
I know. I like anything that is people-based, that makes people happy. I think nowadays we're in an era where you have to chase happiness, and you create your own happiness, and I really strive to do that. So yes, I think above everything, I always say this, above everything, I am a family girl. That's why I don't talk about my family on any platforms. I will mention it, but because of how, close I hold that, because of my upbringing, I take my kids and my partner to heart. It's a very personal and very strong thing for me. It's a big deal for me.
Which is quite interesting because really family is the background.
I mean,
yes. I always say if you're not happy at home, no matter how much will come outside here laughing, it doesn't make much sense.
No, it doesn't. It impacts you
in so many ways,
multiple ways. And I think that's why for so long, even if I knew that I was going to build this career and I was going to have this type of life and all these other things, I think the biggest thing for me was that I wanted to, just change the narrative of families, and I wanted to build my own family in a way that made sense for me. It filled the gaps for me, and I hope to God that I also fill some gaps for them.
And I love the intentionality. Now, I watched a bit of your story, which was quite interesting, which was also quite eye-opening. And looking at you, of course, the passion, the business that you're building, and listening to your background is, for me, is a healing story already. I mean, just telling people that it doesn't matter where you're coming from, it doesn't matter the amount of pain, you can actually turn life into whatever you want it to be.
100%.
So I would really be interested to know, I've introduced you as a marketer, but I know your background is in IT.
Yes.
So please just, as you give us that background, just take us back to where the tables stand around. How did you land in marketing, AI, from the degrees in engineering, right?
Yeah,
software engineering. From a software engineer now to a digital marketer. Sometimes we are told we find our passion along the way. Please tell us, how did the turnaround come?
So I'll refer to one of the biggest influences in my life. I have various influences in my life, and that's why I always tell guys, pick your influences and your influencers very smartly and strategically. One of the people that I really look up to is a guy. He's in real estate in New York. He's called Ryan Serhant, and he's always taught two things that I have come to strongly understand and comprehend, is that while you will study for something and you may not get the job for that, which is often the case. I think 70-80% of people end up in jobs they didn't go to school for. You need to make money fast. And then, interestingly, money actually is what leads you to your passion. I found that because people think their passion is something else until you make money, and then you're like, I actually am into other things. That's how people discover passions. Like, sometimes when you're older, you discover passions like art and going to the opera and all these other things that you didn't at any point think of. But then you find you get calmness because you start getting that exposure because you're making money. But at the genesis of it is that you need to make money. I understand this need for you to follow your passion. But when you're in your early 20s, while yes, you can follow your passion, especially right now in an era of digital and everything, I think it's very key to also follow the money first. then your money
Passion follows.
always leads you to your passion. Yes, you will discover your passion is not even what you thought it was. It becomes better, it becomes bigger, grander, because you at least have a foundation to make some money. You have something to sustain you. So I think that is also the case in how things ended up happening for me. In that, of course, I wanted to study software engineering from the minute I learned what it was. This was in Form 2. From Form 2 onwards, all my high school books, I've always said this, are written software engineer, Nyandia Gachago, not Kapat for name,
so it was
school,
a dream.
form.
It was a childhood dream.
It was a childhood dream. The way everybody wanted to become what do you call Ben Carson. Most people wanted to become Ben Carson in my era. They wanted to be, what is he called? What is he? He's a surgeon. He wanted a neurosurgeon.
A neurosurgeon.
Yeah, because we were all made to read, think big, and all these things. But for me, the minute I touched a computer in high school, because that was my first interaction point with a computer, I knew I wanted something to do with computers.
So this dream to do something with computers was born in high school?
It was born in high school. And literally till date, it's what I do, right?
Yeah.
I may have gone into strategy in marketing in AI, but the foundation, I'm still in computers.
Yeah.
That was where all this love came from. And back then, there were not so many courses in regards to, in computer. It was either IT, BBIT, or it was software engineering. There were not too many. So I picked what I felt would have been most passionate for me. And it was software engineering at that, because I wanted to have like a deeper understanding of what happens to make this thing work. Yes. So then that came, and I did that, and I practiced. I was employed in the universities. I studied that. And I practiced that for a while. I did a lot of hardware work, IT in general, and a bit of software work. But then at the end of the day, I think everybody older than me who was in my circles could tell that I had something that was, while I love computers, kabisa, I have a thing about people, and I am able to find solutions for people. So even when we were fixing things in IT with your computer, with your software, with anything, it was much easier for me than it was for the general tech person to match a person with a product. So everybody kept pushing.
You had a blend of the passion for IT and of course passion for people.
Yes, and I was good at communicating and speaking and all these things. And they kept trying to navigate me there. So actually, I left employment because at the university I worked, they tried to push me into marketing department, and I was like, no.
How did they start that?
I am a nerd.
How? I mean, you're in IT.
Yeah, I'm in IT.
Even in a typical organization, it will take a very keen manager to actually see and switch you, especially tech and marketing.
So, very different.
I mean, how did they see this in you? Is it from your passion for people and that?
Yes, and then I think because I was my Miss University back then, I was in pageants and things like that. I did Miss World Kenya. It's a very interesting thing. But I think he could tell. He's called Professor Gateru. He could tell. He's the Vice Chancellor at Riara University right now. And I fought it because I had this vision in my head of what a nerd is, and I wanted to be a nerd, and I was a nerd because I was a book nerd. I'm someone who has a library in my house, and I buy hundreds of books for my kids. My kids are readers. Like, I tried to impact that because it was imparted on me by my dad, who was also a teacher. So it's just that mix of someone seeing something, but then of course nature is to fight your elders. So I was like, screw this, I'm not doing this. Me, I want IT, I like software, I like everything that I do. So I left and I tried to figure this thing by myself. But what is life?
So at that point, because of that push, you left the university, or you left the IT to join marketing now?
No, I left the university.
You said, wacha your kazi kai.
No, I would have gone, in my head I was like, if I wanted marketing, I'd have gone to study marketing. Meanwhile, I was actually good at it. Whenever my university would like go for shows or to schools and things like that, I would always go, and really we would do so well. But then, to me, that was something I was doing out of fun. It was not a career path for me. So the minute they tried to enforce it as a career path, I was like, So I went, and I was out here. I tried applying for jobs. I did so many things. And for 7 years, I was unemployed. And I was surviving. Nairobi is to survive.
Your job in the university.
7 years was survival, pure survival. Because it's just making just enough to last you to the next day, just enough to make sure hujazimiwa stima, just enough.
I'll make sure umekula.
You know, just enough.
Yeah.
And it was insane until I ended up in the path that I was initially meant to follow, which was
Marketing.
yes.
Finally, you just
yes, I found my way somehow. But because at that point, I even canceled those influences. I didn't listen because to me, I had so much passion, and that speaks to what I'm saying. Like what you think is your passion changes with time.
With time.
Yes,
with
changes
exposure,
with time.
with
Oh yeah, with experience, with age,
Yeah.
a lot of things change. So even if you have so much conviction in your early 20s, as I did, because I started working when I was around 17. The minute I joined campus, that's when I started working. But then even if you have that conviction of this is what I want to do, at the end of the day, I think it's important to learn to morph and adapt to the seasons, and sometimes listen to people who can see something.
Was gone.
Yes, something.
Before you.
Yes.
Yeah, true.
God sends
Yeah.
different signs
And there's
to
a way
help
God
you.
speaks to you.
Oh
sometimes.
yeah. So it's important to discern. And I wish back then, what I always say is, I wish I had that discernment, or I could pray for that discernment and tell God, please let me know what is this that I'm trying to be forced into. But then I was like, no, and it's okay. I'm happy with it because at the end of the day, I still ended up. Yeah.
Sometimes we also told that learning through your own experiences sometimes could be the best, but
it's way better. For me, I felt, it was extremely excruciatingly painful, but it's taught me many more things than maybe the average marketer or the average guy in technology. So it was an experience in its own way.
Wow.
It was key.
Wow. So let me just take you back a bit. And, getting to high school.
Yeah.
And maybe getting to the university, of course, you got good grades, even maybe from primary school.
Yeah.
And of course, if I listen to your story and what really happens with typical children.
Yeah.
Especially when we are in homes where we don't feel loved.
Yeah.
In most cases, there's no motivation, because when I go to my mom, she doesn't love me. Maybe my dad, you're a child who's trying to survive.
To find a place, to find your place. Yeah.
And I think for most people, it turns out that there's nothing that motivates you. So even if if you don't feel loved at home, so who will I be working for?
Yeah.
So maybe in your case, and just drawing from your story, how you grew up, the environment, what motivated you? What was the motivation?
I think at some point, I figured out that no one was coming to save me.
At that young age?
Yes. I figured out that very, very, very young, sadly, which is both good, but it's also sad. But I figured out very early that if I did not figure something out, I was not going to make it in any way possible. So that was the motivation. I needed to leave my parents' house. So you learned
very early that you're on your own?
Oh yeah.
If I don't work hard in school and make a life or make something for myself, it will even be worse for me.
Oh yeah. And even if it's not in school, I had to do something. So I've mentioned severally, Mintilaim is my fourth startup. I started having my first company, I think I was 18 or 19. So it's been a journey of self-discovery, but I knew I was the only one who was going to make it happen for myself.
Great, because for most young people, I don't even know that say it's young people, for children. At that age, you must have been a child. Seeking attention. You want your parents to be there for you. You're going to school. You're seeing those children from good families. Children talking about their dad, talking about their mom, and you're like, okay, where did I come from?
I know. Yeah, it's complex. It's painful, but I think it's also made me very adaptive. I don't stay in spots for long, whether it's a sad spot or a very happy spot. I don't stay for long. So even if I lose whatever money today, I'll feel sad and then I'll move on very quickly. Wow. Even if I have the biggest win, I don't even celebrate. I move on very quickly to the next thing. So it's made me adaptable, and sionangi kitu kubwa sana kwa hii maisha.
I think you have life itself.
Yeah, and I think that's why for me, family is one of the biggest deals, because for me that is what it's very godly, it's very spiritual, it's It's unlike anything. But all these other things that we can figure out how to manage, we can manage.
Yeah, wow, we can survive.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So maybe let me just now we just bring it to when now you started getting into AI. Of course, you from a younger age in high school. Now you already knew that you're
tech savvy. Yeah.
You're tech savvy.
Yeah.
But now bring us when now you started working with AI.
Yeah.
You know, for some of us, I've heard you say that AI, artificial intelligence, of course, it is not something that has come now.
Yeah.
But I know now is in this era, it is a big deal.
Yes.
So what talk to us about this time now you begin to interact with AI, you know, now you want to use it, integrate it in marketing, going back to marketing school and all that.
I remember in this is very funny, in Form 2, with a friend of mine called Kate, who is interestingly in the same field as me. She's like a very key head at Dentsu, which is also an international marketing agency. She had a book called The Black Dahlia. The Black Dahlia is, if you go and it's one of the most mysterious cases, I think in the US, I hope it's in the US. This was a very long time ago. And it's about this lady who is found murdered in a park somewhere, and she's dismembered. So she's in two halves. And they could not, I don't know if till date they figured out who killed her, but they couldn't for so long, right? And that was such a fascinating book for me. So before I figured out, this is like early Form 2, before I figured out I wanted to be in software, we went through, Kate and I used to talk about something called forensic odontology, where these forensic guys use like teeth or things to determine maybe either who this person is, who's been killed, what killed this person, just basically just forensic stuff. And for a second, I wanted to do that. And since in Form 2, we had been allowed to now start maybe trying to create our own small systems, I remember in our computer lab, I tried to create a funeral system based on this story that I had read that would automate, automate the processes. Because you know, you're in Form 2, I was very young, you don't know that there are these systems that exist. Tech was not very common, we were still getting our exams manually marked and things like that. So we didn't know things about software and systems, but I tried to create my first system, which was maybe like an automation system for funeral homes. And how it would work. And I remember I presented it to my teacher. So I think in the midst of me discovering the Black Dahlia story that led me to the forensic thing, then I discovered this computer thing when I tried to create this program was fun. So then we did our Form 4 project, because I did computer even in KCSE and all that. We did our project, which was a very heavy, we had to create a system. And I created a system, and it was the most mind-blowing thing that I had experienced. But this was basically a system you log in, you could create, it was I think a school program, because I remember it was called Msingi something. But that was my first encounter of actual heavy automation, because it would help teachers create all these classes and dissect specific subjects to students with just a simple command. And that, I think that was I've never actually thought about it, but that was the genesis.
So that was in school?
Of my automation journey. Yes, that was in school. Yes, in Form 2, and then actually practicing it in Form 4 in my project, where we had to create a system. And that was my first encounter with actual artificial intelligence, even without knowing that what we created, the system, the fact that it was automated, because that's why we would say an automatic system, was artificial intelligence. So that was my first actual encounter in creating something that was mine.
So bring us back to now. You finished Form 4, you've gone to school, and now you're coming to create Minty.
I've gone to CIM, I've done my chartered, I've done my accreditation ACIM, which was introduced to me by my partner, interestingly, because I didn't know about CIM and all these things. And I've discovered during COVID that I could help businesses easily translate into digital, because now the world commanded it because of COVID, right? So we were helping, that's when Minty was actually born. Is because we were helping businesses navigate digital, because we had done it. Yes, because we had done it, and then now just during COVID made it a bit more urgent, because now businesses needed to survive, right? They needed to survive for 1 year when things were mostly shut down. So we did it, and it was nice, and I could understand most things that people couldn't understand. But then I wanted that foundational marketing knowledge. So I was like, do I go back to campus and get like a second degree or do a master's in strategic management? Then my partner tells me, oh, I worked at something called CIM. I think you should do CIM. So we went through that journey, and that's how I ended up doing. I always tell this to marketers. If you think your degree or master's in marketing is anything, you've not done CIM. CIM is the switch. Yes, that's why you'll find all these big organizations, L'Oreal, Safaricom, when they're hiring heads of marketing, now the people who actually make the good money, the dollar amounts, they always say a chartered marketer. It's on purpose.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Your journey is quite interesting.
Yeah.
Now let's come to the workplace and AI in jobs. Yeah. You know, there's a lot of panic.
Oh yeah.
AI will take our jobs. I don't know the number of times I wake up, open my phone, and see such headlines of AI replacing.
Yeah.
And
Amazon, Meta,
And I think even backed up with those layoffs that we've seen with the big companies.
500s.
Yeah. And even here in Kenya.
Oh yeah.
There are even silent layoffs. Of course, people will say it's because of the economy and all that, but we know there's a lot of automation.
Yes, it is, absolutely.
Should we be scared of AI? Is AI really taking our jobs, please? Should we really be scared?
I've always said I'm not those people who will tell you it will not, because adaptability is going to be the most, I think, marketable function of a staff member. Is the fact that they can adapt quickly. It's not even the implementation of AI, it's the adaptability. Can your staff adapt to times, to things? For so long, when computers were brought up, even calculators, kitambo people are using logbooks. When calculators were brought up, oh no, my God, how dare you?
And nowadays we even have phones now.
Yeah, and then computers come, and then everybody's like, oh God, no, how are they gonna write essays? This is gonna make them lazy. And then now we're in the third industrial revolution, which is AI. So AI is not going anywhere. If anything, it's just gonna get more amplified. So the best thing you can do for yourself is just understand the basics. And the reason most people are getting stuck in a nutshell of panic is because they think they need to learn 6 million things. You don't.
All
You're
AI
in
tools,
HR. Understand what is in HR. I'm in marketing. I understand the tools that are in marketing and the vicinity of marketing, advertising, PR, and comms. If you're in IT, same thing. If you're in procurement, same. You cannot. At least every day, I think there's like tens, if not hundreds, of AI programs being launched. You cannot understand them all. Just pick your niche and stick to that. It makes it much easier. Much easier. And that's why I always tell guys, one of the basic, nice foundations in AI, if you're on a Microsoft platform, get on Copilot. Because it has everything. It has Word, it has all these things, right? So it helps you understand small things. But if you're not on that, get on Google. I think Google right now is the most powerful. People say GPT, it's not. It's Google. The Google AI Studio, there's nothing like it. Google will be the superpower in the next few months in regards to AI, because they have for everything. They have for designers, they have for medicine, they have for researchers, they have for education, they have for kids, teens, everything, coding. It's the perfect platform to just pay that $37 and sample it.
$7 a month.
Yes, but then you sample it first, see what you like, and then decide to just do that one thing.
Wow.
Yeah.
And let me ask you.
Yeah.
Of course, we have been told that, I understand the bit of adaptability, AI complementing employees, but we've been told that there are some jobs that AI will
completely automate. Yeah, for sure, there are. That's why you're saying it's very hard for an organization like Meta or Amazon to wake up and release thousands of people. Clearly, there's something, and they have access to now the heavy duty, artificial intelligence tools and mechanisms. They have their own. Amazon has its own, Meta has their own Meta AI, and so on and so forth. That means that should tell you already what is coming, because that is just in these big things, but it's also trickling down. It's trickling down. So it's going to get into every organization. At some point, it will. So the best thing.
So how do we coexist?
By learning.
How do we coexist?
By learning it. By learning it and figuring out what works in your field. And they are there. Just learn like 10 tools in your field. I swear you'll be so good to go. You might even discover new passions. Like I said, as long as you're in a job, then you play around with AI. You're like, oh God, I can vibe code. I can create my own websites with AI. I can create apps. It's now. It's creating this new level of self-discovery in humans as well. in regards to careers, because at some point maybe we were limited to this one, this 1D or 2D world of maybe even HR if you're in IT. But now with AI, now it's become like 10D. It's multi-dimensional.
Yeah. And maybe just looking also at the future of jobs.
Yeah.
I know when we were growing up, those courses like the ones you did were a big deal,
Yeah, such a big deal.
And that's why I actually wanted to ask you, how did you feel, when you're moving from the tech field to the marketing? But I think you talked about being holding back.
Yeah.
Maybe just looking at 10 years, not even 10 years, 5 years from today, even taking it back out of the workplace to our schools. Are there courses that you see are going to be a big deal?
Oh my gosh, yes, I had even listed some. But first of all, AI in marketing is key because, first of all, as long as any organization exists, there will always be a need for comms, PR, marketing, advertising. Always. There'll always be a need. Even if you guys say, no, we don't advertise,
but
you're online.
AI already doing marketing.
Right, you're online. It does, but it doesn't do fully end to end. At some point, there is human intervention, right? And that is where now people need to realize where to place themselves. For example, in that, you have all these new career paths that are being created by AI, and it's so foundational and it's interesting. But among the AI marketing courses and AI in creative industries and in human resources, because human resources is also going to morph, right? Because I've always been curious, is the implementation of AI now going to be like one staff member? Like you have AI who is a staff member. Because essentially that's the best use of AI, is when you implement AI as a member of your team. See, so it's gonna morph in everything. But then also it will bring back human innovation in that storytelling is gonna be one of the most sought after things, because everybody now is going to be going to GPT or Gemini, and then they're like, oh God, write for me an ad. But then now people will miss human copy and human storytelling and all these cool things, like the way our grandmothers used to sit and tell a story. So I think that is now going to come back, where now people will start craving that, especially us as Africans, because we're very people-centered. Even if you find a bot on, say, whichever bank or communications platform you're on, and you find a bot, at some point you always want a human intervention and saying tunaweza ongea bei,
of course,
because you want, we crave. Africa is our business. Africa is our business. We are very big on one-on-one things. So there will also be an emergence of human-centric careers as well. So whether it's these guys who help you navigate careers, whether it's therapy in a different form, but that is also now going to become a thing. So in as much as there's this whole emergence of AI and AI careers, the foundational human careers or human needs of storytelling and copy
connections,
it's gonna also now start coming back up. It's a very interesting thing, because at the end of the day, the earth always balances the yin and the yang. So there will be need of balance.
Wow.
Yeah.
And in terms of skills, because again, we are being told that yes, and AI will not replace our jobs, but of course there are some that will automatically just automate.
Yeah.
But again, now we are told that it is people who know how to use AI. I was having a conversation yesterday with someone, and they were telling me now it's not even people learning about AI, but people learning about how to instruct AI, write prompt commands and
prompt,
all that.
Prompt engineering and all that.
It is what you put in, the quality of what you put in determines what you get out. So what are some of the specific skills or the in-demand skills that you see, especially professionals in the workplace, that you need to
last year there was like a whole thing on LinkedIn where you could see guys on their bio, prompt engineering. Like, that is your gig. I didn't, for so long we thought that was just like a byproduct. As long as you're in the AI field, of course you're a prompt engineer, especially if you've gotten to where you can teach it, you understand it more than people, that means you are a prompt engineer. But then in this, what they call first world countries, that actually became a job. Like, where people are being paid hundreds of thousands of dollars. To prompt, because they're so good at it. They've understood the foundationals of, and most probably what they do is that they actually know how to talk to AI better, to give it so that the AI is the one that
best
regurgitates
output,
its own, it even regurgitates its own prompt. It's like, okay, sir, if you want better output, ask me this, right? And that brought the emergence of AI prompt optimizers. But it's a very interesting scope, because now you'll find, of course, AI in marketing, advertising, comms has become a thing. Of course, vibe coding is becoming a full thing. There is no need to keep reinventing the wheel, because you can always go back to the foundationals. A lot of AI ethical and policy makers, that will also become a very big thing, because it's going to have to be indoctrinated in every organization, in every country, in the ministries, right? Everywhere there will need to be an AI ethics check, ethic bias checker, and AI policy checker. Of course, you have now the prompt engineers and guys who understand prompts, and then you have the guys who work on the back end of AI, which is what companies like Nvidia and Nokia are now doing better, because they hold the infrastructure, the engineering, physical products that allow for AI to be held, right? The servers, Nini. So there's going to be these things that you can see in the next couple of months. Even from now, they've become bigger careers than what was before. So we're going back to an era of hardware engineers being like a very, very big deal. Very big deal. Because at the end of the day, this AI needs infrastructure. Yeah. So who are these guys who are in this infrastructure? So that is where now guys who are in tech need to start looking. So if you don't want to do the software, which is the actual creation of AI tools, go to the infrastructure. It's the smartest place to go to.
So even the tech careers are really shifting.
They are.
Not just the maybe normal engineering, but again now with the integration of AI.
Oh yeah. That's why Nokia is back up. For so long, everybody, Nokia is dead. Nokia, they got a new CEO. He started doing some foundational work. Now most of the, not just the servers, I'm trying to remember, most of the routers, some specific parts of infrastructure you must get from Nokia for AI to be implemented. So they've literally now, they're going to become one of the most profitable comms companies again.
Because of AI.
Yes, because of foreseeing. You got someone who could foresee where this was going, because everybody is concentrating on this, which is common. You're forgetting there's 6 million other people who are trying to create AI programs. Nobody's thinking of the infrastructure, right? And that is where, actually, I think there's more money in the infrastructure than in the actual tools.
Now that you've talked about ethics, I think maybe just to dwell a bit on that part. Ethics, conversations around data protection. I think we feed AI with too much information.
Oh, facts. We do.
Because I think we are giving AI all our secrets. It's like there's another shadow human being walking that knows everything about us.
And then you think that it's just, once you delete it,
it's gone. Yeah, it's just me and ChatGPT and whatever, whatever I ask ChatGPT.
Then I delete that chat. Some Altman does not know where to get that chat later. No.
So how do we control that, especially in businesses, as businesses integrate AI, as even we work with AI prompting, writing our emails, how do we get a balance?
So for the longest time, most organizations who have a tool, either they use Google Workspace or they use, say, Microsoft. These guys who use Outlook, they've always held their softwares in a local server. You don't have to always just connect online to access all these things that are. Most of the time, the IT departments will always have this infrastructure within the organization. Then they download those heavier softwares and then they deploy. Same thing with the AI. Most people are using the AI version, and it's understandable. That is the easiest. You just go online, log in. But if you're in an organization, which means you can afford these high-end gaming computers, these high-end MacBooks, all these heavy-duty computers, that means you can download what we call local versions, local models. So instead of this AI tool always being online, it's just held somewhere you can manage. Interestingly, some countries are doing that. Denmark is. So the information that OpenAI accesses for Denmark does not leave Denmark, because the country and the policies it's implemented, even through the EU, are way stringent. I don't know what EU does, but they're more stringent than what other countries are doing. So for example, they will tell OpenAI, you must have centers here. All the data that you're using for everybody who is Danish is here. Yes, it is not accessed from outside there. And those are general bare minimum laws that should be applied by every country. I find it very mind-blowing that still to date there are places where Facebook doesn't have offices, Google doesn't have offices. They'll just have like a headquarter, a office somewhere that is small, but not the actual office. I find that so insane. Like 10 years ago, I remember when we were trying to get Google in Nairobi, it was such a task. You're like, what do you mean? Yeah. Google is everywhere. How do you not have a point of, like a serious convergence point in every country you're in? Because there is that need, right? So it's the same thing with AI. I think governance and all these other people need to create these stringent policies that protect its people. Yeah, because si kila mtu will afford that high-end laptop that has heavy power to be able to hold this AI in a local model. Most people are just wanting to just go online and ask it. And you see, even if you get it in a local model and implement it, it still gives you up-to-date information. Yeah. But it's more secure because only you who has access to it. But then now, everything else is just crazy. And that's why at the end of the day, as long as something is online, it's plugged onto the internet, it is stored somewhere, right? And that's why even at some point, Sam Altman said, even if they cancelled, GPT no longer is implored to give, what is it? What do you call medical advice, and I think and financial advice and legal advice as well. Financial is fine, yes, because it will give you it will for example advise or consult, but it will not give you as hard hitting as it was before with authorities. No longer as authority, because they realized these guys, first of all, we're in an economic crisis worldwide, right? We're in a depreciation. So you're finding guys will go to hospitals, they get the scans they needed, but then they're not able to go back to the doctors. It's expensive to get, because that's another consultation, that's another 5K, 2K, whatever. So they take it to GPT. They just upload it to GPT, and then GPT tells you, and then they take that, and then it even tells you, for this, we would prescribe, you get a prescription. Yeah, and then you're like, Doctor Who? I'm good, I'm set. And that's very problematic, because now you're also feeding. If anybody wanted to, for example, have access to your files and harm you, the fact that they have your medical records somewhere, that is it's quite crazy. Yeah. It's quite crazy. So we are, for sure, feeding too much data on these AI tools without taking at least a few measures to make sure it's not very directly tied to you. So it goes back to our governments just to put in place those stringent measures that will ensure our data. They do. Yeah. Because we can skip here and teach everybody ethics and what you should do and how you don't need to prompt directly as yourself. You can say, for my friend or something. Yeah. But how many people will actually keep remembering that? That's why governments are in place. That's why people pay taxes and all these things, is to make sure at least they cover you in some of these basic things that are key. Yeah. Wow. That's very profound. Now let's go back to AI replacing jobs, the automation completely phasing out some jobs. Are there specific industries that that are actually adopting AI faster? And maybe so that, there are people, who are, when you're building your career, people are specific about, I want to get into this industry. And it makes it informs the decisions that we make even in college years and all that. So there are those specific industries that if you're going to, someone really just needs to know that this one, if I'm not adaptive, if I don't have this skill, then I'll be quickly kicked out. I think one of the earliest adapters of anything automation is engineering, anything that is manufacturing, if you think about it, right? All these machines have somehow been synced to keep working with very little to no human intervention. So that means automation was already in the process. There's a program there is AI there. But some of the ones that have become very key outside of manufacturing and all these other industries is things like marketing. I think it's very hard right now to do marketing without having AI embedded in it. First of all, it makes things easier. You don't need to always get 3D artists. You can use an AI tool. I think also architecture firms have also been implementing AI for so long. You've seen renders. Architectural renders look like very AI focused. It takes a lot of work, and they've done that for the longest time. So I think those are some of the ones. Anything that is a creative industry as well, I think you do need some skill set that is AI based, just to make your flow quicker, less redundant, less tasking. Yeah, I've also seen it now a lot in HR in regards to matching people with you've seen it even with LinkedIn, right? That guy who put a code on his LinkedIn bio to check if LinkedIn uses AI to headhunt, it's proved the fact, because he started whatever response he had asked it to do, he started getting a recipe sent to his email because of how he had put a code in his LinkedIn bio to prove that LinkedIn, that a lot of these people who are looking, even organizations who are in HR, are using AI to headhunt. So that is also one of the places where AI is being heavily
because I'm in
implemented.
HR, and I know for recruitment for a long time we've been using the applicant tracking system. And that's typically AI.
It is,
because you'll feed in your CV as an applicant, then it will rank, rate, and all that.
And you can even do background checks on people, their previous employers. So now it's just getting a bit more detailed.
Wow. And when we come to misconceptions, because I know change is one of the most painful things, and adapting, we talk about adapting, but again, it's not easy for people to take up these things. First of all, the greatest misconception is that maybe it may not be a misconception, but that AI is replacing people and all that. But again, apart from that, what are some of the most common misconceptions that you see people have around AI?
There's two misconceptions. And they're very relative to each other. It's very funny. They are direct opposites. One, AI is very cheap, and the other one is AI is very expensive. Those are two very interesting.
Is it cheap or expensive?
So if you think about it in this context, it's either or. That's the funny thing. You need data. Who can afford data non-stop? It's not everybody, right? So that means already the playing field is not even. Because you can't compare someone who is daily interacting with like multiple AI tools versus someone lazima anunue bundles ndio access AI for like that 1 hour or 2 hours or half a day or whatever. It's not the same. So there's that misconception of, but AI is so easy. Unaingia tu online.
Because it's just
like not everybody can afford that internet. There's a whole thing there where we have all these misconceptions of thinking everybody's plugged in. We are not. It's not everybody who is plugged in. Right? Then now you have the other part for AI is too expensive, which is also not true. There are AI tools that are free, that are affordable, that have good trials that allow you to do so much before you pay for them. So and then the other thing that we spoke about, which is it's not an actual thing, token tax, but it exists, but it's not called token tax. If you go online, you'll not like see something. Token tax is just something we call that, where AI that is prompted outside of its natural, not even natural language, outside of its creation language, like English, it takes more tokens to produce an answer, as opposed to if someone was just in US or UK and you're using their English, right? So if you're in Africa, for example, Africa is a good example, and you're using native tongue, and maybe instill akawadu kondani ya Kiswahili or something or a local language, because it understands some local languages, it will use more tokens to give you a response, as opposed to when it would have just been plain English. So you find there are those instances. So the two biggest misconceptions are those things. Thinking everybody can access AI, which is wild because not everybody can, and also thinking AI is very, very expensive, because it is not. If you have internet, you can access it. But at the same time, is it everybody who can access this? Non-stop internet.
That's true. That's true. Kwanza, when it comes to internet, and of course, depending on which AI you're using.
And in this economy. In this economy.
That's true. So when it comes to creativity, because I know that is one of the most key skills that employers look for. Do you think AI is killing or enhancing our creativity? Because the rate at which we can just go and, you write an email and tell AI, please check for misspelling, do this, check if it's grammatically correct. I want to send this to my boss. Does it sound rude or is it okay? What do you think? Because is it killing creativity?
No, I don't think it is. I think it's enhancing creativity. It's enhancing, first, and how I think it's enhancing, first of all, is that it takes over the redundant, repetitive things that you need to do, and then it leaves you and your mind to now do the strategic, the fun, the creative stuff. So you use it for the menial, the repetitive tasks. it can even give you a foundational idea if you're like in what we call a creative block, and then you just build on it, because at the end of the day there's a thing in you that it's implanted by God for you to be creative. That's why there's something, I'm trying to remember which billionaire says it, but there's someone who says that there are two types of people. There's creators and there's people who just use. Right. And he says creators live longer because they're always doing something, as opposed to people. So it's important that at the end of the day we find a way to always attach ourselves to the creator by trying to always create something for people to use. So I think it enhances creativity in that way. If you're looking at someone who is looking for shortcuts, then for sure it will decrease your thought capacity because you become lazy. Humans are innately gonna look for a shortcut to something, right? But if you're someone who is very intentional with what you do, it enhances your creativity.
Really?
Yeah.
Because let me give you a practical example.
Yeah.
I mean, recruitment. And nowadays I know when people write CVs using AI, is AI not making us amateurs, or I mean, just we present who we are not? Because I can write a CV with AI, I can prepare for interviews with AI.
Yeah.
So how do we even get the balance again? Isn't it misuse? You know?
Yes, it is.
Today I take my CV, put it in AI, and tell AI to.
No. It's something that's not being talked about enough. Is the ethical use of AI. There's a reason why. First of all, AI is so heavy in how it consumes electricity, in how it consumes water to cool the servers. That's why you're finding there's a whole city or town in the US that has no water, is undergoing like serious problems, environmental problems, because of how heavy and draining those AI servers are. And that is being triggered by a lot of nonsense prompts. So we are not like just nonsense. Write me a bio. Who are you? Even that one. So I think a big part, and that's why I'm saying, in as much as we are teaching use of AI, there's a foundational part that we are skipping a lot. And that's why, thank God, I got into CIM, and then we had to restructure our studies in a specific way, where you need a theoretical part in as much as you need the practical part. So I'm a very practical teacher, but I had to also understand the need for theoretical, because theoretical is where you'll teach this ethics. It's where you'll impart the knowledge of the reaction that happens whenever you're asking AI nonsense, stupid questions, for example, just to, because you're bored, but you're not understanding environmentally there's something being affected because of that. So a big thing that I think we need to teach is ethical use of AI, responsible use of AI. So for sure, people are using it.
You agree there's a lot
mostly,
of
a lot,
misuse, right?
Definitely, a lot of misuse. A lot. And it's very, very sad, because I think they're not the ones facing the heavy repercussions. They don't encounter it. But until you go online and you watch all these documentaries about the places where these AI servers are, then you're like, oh gosh, we are really, really doing something bad to the environment and to these people who live in these places in regards to our misuse of AI.
Yeah, because every time I see CVs written with AI, I can know when someone memorizes interviews, AI prompts, come and give them, cram them as
if they're being also interviewed by AI.
Yes. I know it is made work easy, because I know nowadays you get into those big companies, they do interviews with AI. But of course, we've talked about the ethical use. Now, let's talk about collaboration and coexistence. Here is something that is coming that I believe will take my job. And here we're talking about adaptability, that I should adapt, collaborate. Now, how do we collaborate with AI to ensure that, AI is there, I am here,
and we are syncing,
working together? How do we get that sync?
I think it's the discernment of where the human part comes in, where AI takes over, and then where humans come and take up again. It's like marketing and sales. Most people are not able to discern the two, yet the two are very different factions. They're married, but they're different. So people will hire a marketer and think they'll do the work of sales. Meanwhile, it's possible, but salespeople are their own thing. It's a different beast, right? And people who get the best outputs are people who separate the two entities. So the two entities will marry at some point, then they'll diverge, then they'll marry again. It's important to do the same with AI and humans. Learn where the point of convergence is and where the point of divergence is. So everybody sticks to their part.
Yeah.
Everybody sticks to their part. And everybody does their part.
Yeah.
It's the best way to be able to coexist in this world where technology is coming, right? And knowing your place is why you still do mental math as opposed to jumping on your calculator and immediately doing 10 plus 2, right? So I think that will be the best thing to do, is learning the convergence and divergence points. At what point is it needed? At what point is it not needed? And sticking to that path. But again, it goes to policies.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, there should be policies, even from a national standpoint, from say the African Union standpoint, then down to the national structures, then down to organizational structures. You create those metrics and find ways to make sure those metrics are followed. Then it becomes that much easier and better.
So that AI does not completely replace you. You coexist.
Because we were created for a reason, right?
Yeah,
so there's no way. I mean, if we were not meant to be here, then we would not have been here.
Yeah.
But we are here, which means we play a very pivotal role in the existence of the universe.
Yeah.
We just need to know our place and know how to put AI in its place as well. Yeah.
Wow. Very profound. So in terms of AI tools, I know there's so many AI tools. That's why when I started, I said at the end of this conversation, guys, it will be a masterclass. Of course, it's a masterclass of learning, yeah. Mtakuwa mnajua tu GPT peke yake.
Muhimu.
So, are there do you have maybe top 5 or 3 key AI tools that you believe that every professional in this age and era must know?
I tell guys this. Just get on Google Workspace, not Google Workspace. Like if you can move your work, your organization to Google Workspace, it will shift everything for you. Because Google now has the video tools, it has the music tool, it has creative tools, it has posters, it has everything embedded in it. So I think being on Google, because under Google is hundreds of AI tools, it gives you access to so much. And the beautiful thing now is that even phones are coming embedded with AI,
even the WhatsApp
TVs, everything is coming embedded with AI. So it will be a very key thing to learn that. But I always say the best thing is find one foundational generative AI tool. So GPT is a generative AI tool. So is Gemini, DeepSeek, Manus. All these are foundational generative tools. Then learn how to create something outside of text, outside of an email. Can you do a video? Can you do a poster on Canva AI? There's just those foundational skills. Because also in this era of work, we are turning to a point where work is more the person than just the job.
Yeah.
Where you're finding more, especially for founders, you're finding founder-led marketing being what is guiding people to trusting your brand. It's people as opposed to just maybe a logo or a tagline. And Kitambo, the logo and the tagline were the loads. They were everything, right? If you think about Airtel. For so long, if you think about Airtel, you couldn't tell who the CEO of Airtel was.
Yeah.
But you knew there was Airtel.
Of course.
Even with Safaricom, you knew, but it was not as deep as it was, right? But now we're in an era where people want to see faces. So if you can figure that part out, magic.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you've talked about the shift. We're talking about a very big shift.
Oh yeah.
AI shifting skills,
Yeah.
and of course even these in-demand skills. Now let's go back to our curriculum.
Okay. Oh God, education, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is it really preparing us for all this shift?
No, oh my God, no.
How does it look like 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 10 years down the line?
I think it's first of all, it's very sad because I think we adopted a curriculum that people were not prepped properly for. It's why till date, like kids still have, it's not everybody, there's presumptions, and that is very sad. All these presumptions that everybody has a printer to print homework, that everybody has, it's just these bad presumptions. So imagine if we're not even ready just for the digitization of an educational curriculum, that COVID was so chaotic to education. What about AI? We need to fix the systems. The systems, and it's been done. Rwanda has adopted
because
it.
we are talking about the workplace needing these new skills, these new career paths. But again, where are people going to come from?
Right. Yeah.
If that system is not producing
it, and it always to some degree boils down to policy. Not everybody will afford to take their kids to international education where they'll learn coding and robotics and all these things, or even private schools that have the same. They might be on CBC, but they have robotics and coding and all this. Not everybody can afford that.
That's true.
So we need to figure out how to level this playing field. And AI is a very good leveler of the playing field, because as long as people have access to it, they can learn things outside of classrooms, which is what we are looking for. To solution that is, multifaceted, not just faceted to people in towns who have internet non-stop, right? So you're finding, first of all, it's been proven to be done. Singapore has done it. I know we like mentioning Singapore in relation to Kenya, but Rwanda has done it. Ghana has somehow figured out how to do Google Classrooms and all these other things. It is possible, but how does the government boil down and decentralize this thing that is so big and is a little bit expensive when it's being done in large scale, and dissect it to the classrooms? That is what the Ministry of surely that's what they should be doing. And that's why you saw, like with China, like 2 months ago, when they said children from age 6, AI is now in the curriculum, must, because they understand it's a foundational need. Nisawa, we're in professionals, we'll understand 1 to 3 things. But imagine if we had learned AI from age 6. We would be something else. Something else. So it's things like that need to be done, but also making sure that the infrastructure is there. So why are you giving kids homework to go print things? And this kid, their mother is living on like 50 bob, 20 bob, 40 bob a day. Where are they going to print homework from?
The cyber.
Cyber is still, I've not been to a cyber in over a decade, but I imagine it's still the same form of payment per hour or every 2 hours. How many people will afford? They need to, or printing, which is so expensive. How we need to dissect this. They need to even this playing field.
How close are we? Maybe just in your own analysis, on a scale of 1 to 10.
So
terms of even getting there, equipping people with these skills. Because now the market dynamics are not waiting for any government to make any decisions. It's moving.
So what's two things will happen. Either the government adapts and helps it get, for example, into the rural or lower privileged, lower income places, so they are able to trickle down effects. Or the other thing, organizations decide to now make it. You see the way, like when computers became a thing and schools could not afford it, guys would come and contribute laptops or desktops. So the same thing also, where now organizations will have to come together and say, this year we are going to target 50 schools or 2 schools per month to feed a bit of infrastructure, maybe like 10 printers to the school. I think it's either going to come from us, but again, in an economy where politics always takes the lead, you might do that and then it becomes a whole thing. So I don't know. It's a very tough question. It's very doable, by the way. Given the budgets we manage in Kenya, we have very high budgets for things. We have a lot of money. But then I think it's a prioritization problem. It's a prioritization problem always. But if it was to be made a priority, it's very easy to break that down to granular levels.
Wow. So that means there's still a big opportunity.
There is a big opportunity, a very big one. Because we're going into an election year. That is what they should use for electioneering. Should say we're gonna, make sure they democratize AI kabisa.
Wow. Quite interesting.
It is, and sad also, because you can already see where this will go for some kids in 5 years and for others in 5 years.
So just advising a professional who's watching us and about AI, because I think the main thing for us is now just to remove this fear and tell guys that, you know what, AI is already here. It's not going anywhere. And AI is part of your work. So it's just coexisting, collaborating, and ensuring that you integrate it into your daily work. What is the one thing that you'll want every professional to know about AI? And just their work, working with the AI
is wonderful. First of all, remove the whole thing of it's too complex. I promise it's not. Just niche to to what you do. It's going to be brilliant, by the way, for you. So just take AI as a subject in school. The same way you did sciences and English and Swahili and God knows what else. Just take it there. Just implement it. Implement it as a member of your team, by the way. You can make it a content creator. That way, it becomes much easier to adopt. It can be a copywriter, the thing that answers your emails, and all these other things. But I think taking it up as with a function, one function, will help you adapt it better. And it is brilliant. Yeah. It is wonderful. Msiogope AI. It's really good.
But with this redundancy, the layoffs where people are seeing, when we see AI, I think nowadays even if people see any new process being introduced into the organization,
they're like, oh God.
Yes, and
yeah.
But
like, it's very interesting. Like, I managed my entire department back when I was at Ole Sereni. And I never used to say this to the other departments because, it's not their business. It's not, as long as you're doing your task.
Yeah.
But I think a big part of my department, which was, and we would really feed a lot of heavy business into the brand, was the fact that we were implementing AI in our day-to-day marketing. Otherwise, we would really, really be struggling because it was very few team members, very, very few, for so many functions of say, in the hospitality industry, so many functions. But that all was made possible because we were implementing at any given point 5 or more AI tools. Yeah. Wow. That is the only way to make it possible. Assign AI your function. You can assign AI your function of emails. If you have it in Microsoft, you can with Copilot, in Google, in your Gmail. Just start somewhere. See how functional AI works. And then don't go into too broad-based AI. Go into AI that is specific for your niche or for your interest. Because maybe your niche is not where you want to be in 10 years. But if, say, I'm in HR and I've been dying to understand code, then I can start playing around with things like CASA, Google Anti-Gravity, tools that are going to at least help me now start understanding this foundational knowledge. There's a brilliant tool by Google, Learn Your Way, Learn My Way, that breaks down any subject into a thing that you understand. So, for example, I love the Vikings. Like, I love Norse mythology. I love those old stories of Greek gods and things like that. I like that. Or maybe you're religious, you like Bible stories or something like that. So you tell it, this is a book. I want to understand foundational physics. And what I love is Norse mythology or religious studies. Explain it to me. It will break it down using biblical characters, for example, and teach you in a way that you understand. So for me, it will break it down into guys like Ragnar and Lagatha, and just break it down into Norse mythology, the Greek gods, into a way that I'll understand. If I like cartoons, it will create cartoons for me to study that physics that I want to understand. So there's various fun things that you can do with AI. People, if anything, the AI tools that are known are not the most interesting, by the way. They're not. They're the most, what do you call it, surface tools ever. But if you get to the nook and crook and play around with tools like Google, like Notebook LM, which is a tool that, you can upload an entire document and it can create a podcast structure for you to learn your document. It can simulate a classroom for you. It can create, infographics from your document. It's brilliant. There are things that are amazing. So when you're using GPT for research, when there is a research tool like Research Rabbit that is so niche and wonderful, created by researchers, then you don't get, that's why I think some people use AI for surface things as opposed to for the root things that you actually, because people don't, I noticed, by the way, humans don't research. That is why there's a whole bunch of people who con people and who charge people for nonsense things because they've discovered humans don't research. So what mimi basi, I do the research, then I can't charge you.
For it.
Meanwhile, it's just, as long as you have internet, you can always Google. This knowledge is out there for free. So,
because I also feel we have not still used AI to the level that it will make much sense to us.
No.
Like you're saying, we've barely scratched the surface.
Barely. And even more insane, AI is in the infancy stage. That's what they call it right now. So can you imagine what in 5 years it's going to look like? If this is the infancy stage where it's simulating you, like I can show you a tool like HeyGen that will take you right now as you are, record your voice, and I can create content with that image and voice of you. And people will not know it's not you, right? So if that is infancy,
then if it gets to adulthood,
oh gosh,
a grown up finally,
right?
Yeah.
How will that look like? It will be absolutely mind-blowing. So this is the best time actually to learn it before it gets complex, because I can only imagine the teenage age of AI, what it's going to be like, what the adulthood is going to be like. So this is the perfect time. It's still quite basic.
So maybe just comparing Kenya to other African countries in terms of our
frameworks.
I mean, even adoption of AI.
Yeah. We are not badly off, interestingly, because Kenya is one of the most, we are very early adapters. Oh my gosh. I think hata TV ikitoka, we run there. Shikoa, his style ametoka na new pots, we run there. Sijui who has come with crop tops. We are early adopters of technology as well. As long as it can be democratized to where it's affordable. We do it. We're not people who fear that. So I do think we're among at least the top 10, of course, the top 10 countries in adoption of AI. The problem is we're not bringing out our AI tools that we've created ourselves as much as we are pushing for European or Asian tools. And I think that is sad because we have so much. Banking systems have had AI tools for decades in Kenya. For decades, right? Agricultural systems have had AI. Hospitality, even medical field has had AI tools for so long. But we do not talk. I still get people who ask me, do we have any tools in Kenya? I'm like,
what I was going to ask you.
We do.
Of course, I've seen there are a number of them, but I know
so
there
many.
are so many of them.
So many.
But they're never talked about.
Yeah. In fashion, we have one that chooses fabric. In health, we have Jacaranda Maternity, which I say that is USSD based. We have one that is for sexual health for teenagers. We have one that is for insurance. Agriculture, let's not even get there. Right? We have Wakili AI. We have so many tools, but I don't know. I think if anyone watches this and they have an AI tool, they need to talk to me because I'll talk about it for free, I'm telling you. Because we need people to start consuming what is ours and made with our language, with our values, you know, because it's different. It gives us a little different output than what general tools would do. But we do have these tools. So based on that alone, Kenya, in Africa at least, we must be top 5 somewhere. I hope so, top 6 somewhere. Yeah. I know there's Rwanda, there's Morocco, I know there's Egypt, there's South Africa, there's Nigeria, there's Ghana, there's Rwanda, of course, but we are among the top.
Wow. I think this has indeed been a masterclass. And you know, some conversations are not very easy to end.
No.
Yeah. But of course, guys, thank you so much for being with us till this. And this has been a masterclass. I have learned. And as I said, at the end of this conversation, it will not only be the GPTs that you know. I've learned about so many of them. I think when I'll be watching at this video again,
I'll taking notes.
Yeah, I'll take notes. So thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me. Asante sana.
I really enjoyed this conversation.
Thank you.
And guys, if you have any questions, please be sure to put them on the comment sections, and I'll be happy to call you again in the future.
Yes, I'll look forward.
This conversation more, because I believe the more we have this conversation, is the more we really take it out there and make people just even change their perspective in terms of these misconceptions that we are having about AI jobs, the disruptions and all that. So thank you for watching. If you're here for the first time, please be sure to subscribe, share this content with your network, and I'll see you again in the next video. Thank you for watching.
Bye-bye.